Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Matchday 3 predictions. Before we jump into those real quick, let's take a look at the Nerdy Soccer table. Currently, we have two people tied for first between Nick and Rohita. And then we have a multiple three-way, four-way tie there for third place between Cote, Wayne's World, M. Donovan, and Let's Go Crew with 3 points there in third. So kind of heating up, but still you have a chance. So make sure that you join in. Yes, there is a giveaway. If you are at the top of the Nerdy Soccer table at the end of the MLS season, you will receive a MLS kit of your choice from the MLS store. So make sure that you join in. QR code's there on the screen. Link is in the description. It is a Google Forms. You just fill it out and you get on the Nerdy Soccer table, and we have this each week. Now, let's go ahead and jump into my predictions. So, first off, we have Columbus Crew versus the Houston Dynamo. Currently, Columbus at home have one win, where Houston have not played on the road yet. Columbus, though, have won their first two matches of the season, where Houston Dynamo have won none. They've lost both of them, and I think that continues for them here. I think Houston have to go on the road to Lower.com Field. Yes, Columbus Crew played in the midweek against LAFC, losing that match 3-0 there in Champions Cup, but I still think that Columbus are a better side, and they're playing there at Lower.com Field. I think they win this match 2-1 over Houston Dynamo. That leads us into Seattle Sounders versus LAFC. Currently, Seattle have one draw there at home. LAFC have not played on the road, and currently 2 wins there to start the MLS season. LAFC are coming off of a win against Columbus Crew in the midweek. They're 3-0. At the time of this video, Seattle have not played their midweek game there in the Champions Cup. I thought Seattle would be very dominant this year, and especially at home, but they end up with a draw there, 2-2 at home against Charlotte, which Charlotte's going to be a good side this year. LAFC didn't look all that great to me. Both games they opened with for MLS were at home, and then even that Champions Cup game was there at home. But those other 2 wins were 1-0. They were 1-0 there for the MLS, and then a 3-0 victory over the Columbus Crew in the midweek. I don't see too much separating these two sides, and I actually think that LAFC go on the road here and get a point, and this match ends in a 1-1 draw there at Lumen Field. So moving on, we have the match that you all voted for the watch-along, and I have to thank you all for voting for this. That is Atlanta United versus the New York Red Bull. Atlanta United opened up the season with a win at home, but then going on the road and losing in the second match, where the Red Bulls lost on the road in their first match to FC Cincinnati, but then won 2-0 against Nashville there at home. For this one, the win probability is in heavy favor of Atlanta United in this one, and I think I'm going to have to go with it. Maybe there's a little bit of bias there. Atlanta did not look that great last weekend against Charlotte on the defensive end. That's because we have a good bit of injuries to our starters there, and just having to deal with that. Red Bulls looked pretty good there at home versus Nashville. They are going to be an up-and-coming, not up-and-coming team. They're going to be just as good as they were last year, in my opinion. But I think Atlanta at home, they're going to be tough to beat there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium this season, and I think they win this match 2-1 over the Red Bulls. So that leads us into DC United versus Sporting Kansas City. DC United do have a draw there at home, where Sporting Kansas City lost their first road match. Sporting Kansas City is just not good. Unfortunately, they're just terrible. DC United, both of their matches in MLS have been draws this season. The win probability to me is in favor of DC by a lot here. And I don't think that there's much to discuss other than Sporting Kansas City is bad. DC United's not the best, but they're getting draws, they're getting points, but they need to get a dub, and I think they do that here. They win this match 2-0 over Sporting Kansas City there at Audi Field. Next up, we have FC Cincinnati versus Toronto FC. Cincinnati did open up the season with a win there at home. Toronto, 1 draw and a loss on the road. That's not too bad for Toronto. They did draw against DC United 2-2 in the opening match day, and then they lost 4-2 against Orlando City. I do think that Cincinnati are the better side here. They did have a midweek match. They drew 1-1 with Tigres. Even though they did have a midweek match, it was on Tuesday, I believe. And I think that they have enough rest time to play this match. I think that they get the job done there at home at TQL and win this match 2-1 over Toronto FC. Next up, we have the New England Revs versus Philadelphia Union. Currently, the Revs, they did lose their first match at home to Columbus 1-0. Philadelphia Union won their only road game, and they won that one 4-2 against Orlando City in the opening match day. Philadelphia Union are looking phenomenal, and boy, I was wrong about what my predictions were with them. I would love to say that the Revs win this match at home, but I just can't do it. Philadelphia Union, they look too good, averaging 4 goals a game. Yes, there's only 2 matches for them, but still 4 goals in both of their first 2 games is very, very good. Don't think they get 4 in this one, but I will say they get 3, and they win this match 3-1 over the Revs. Now, this next matchup, I think, is going to be a very close one. In this one, it was very hard for me to decide who I was going to pick or what the outcome was, and that is NYCFC versus Orlando City. NYCFC have not played yet at home. Orlando have not yet played on the road. NYCFC not looking as good as I thought they would. A draw and a loss there in their first 2 matches, where Orlando City 1 win and a loss in their first 2 matches, coming off of a 4-2 victory against Toronto FC. I went back and forth on this one, and for some reason I think that we're going to see 5 goals. I don't know why, but this match is at Yankee Stadium, and I think that NYCFC win over Orlando City. This one I've went back and forth on, like I said, but I think NYCFC win this match 3-2 over Orlando City. Moving along, we have Austin FC versus Colorado Rapids. Austin opened up the season with a win there at home against Sporting Kansas City, but then losing on the road to Portland Timbers. Colorado Rapids have 1 draw there on the road and a draw at home to start the season off there in MLS. This one, it's a toss-up to me, and the probability is heavily in favor of a draw in this one, and I'm going to stick with that. I think that Colorado are going to now be a more consistent team with them not being in Champions Cup. So I think that they're going to go on the road here, have a good match against Austin. I haven't seen what I thought I would see from Austin yet, so maybe that's when they start here, but I think this match ends in a 2-2 draw there at Q2 Stadium. So that leads us into FC Dallas versus Chicago Fire. Dallas have yet to play at home, where Chicago do have 1 loss there on the road. That coming to the Columbus Crew in match day 1, 4-2. Musa is looking very good for FC Dallas. His goal contribution between goals and assists is 4 for them so far this season, where Chicago looked okay against Columbus Crew, even though they lost 4-2. They go in, draw against DC United there at home. They were missing Gutierrez because he had a red card, I believe, or a suspension in that match. So he will be back for this one, but I think FC Dallas are going to be very good at home. Moose is going to continue scoring here because he has a great player in Acosta sitting there in behind him. So I think Dallas are going to win this one at home, and I think they win 3-1 over the Chicago Fire. So that takes us to Nashville SC versus Portland Timbers. Nashville did get a draw there in their first match at home. Portland Timbers have not played on the road yet, so this is their first road match. I really want to say Nashville get their first win here. I want them to get their first win here because I like Nashville, and I want them to do well. They're my first ever MLS game a couple seasons ago, and it was such a great atmosphere there at Geodis Park. And with them not performing very well last year, and then this season not starting off that great, I don't want the fans, I don't want the attendance to start to really, really drop. Portland Timbers, yes, they got a win against Austin at home, but they lost 4-1 against Vancouver in match day 1. Portland Timbers are a very inconsistent side. They're going on the road here. I'm going to say it. I think Nashville get the win here at home, get their first win of the season, win this match 1-0 over Portland Timbers there at Geodis Park. Next up, we have Real Salt Lake versus San Diego. Real Salt Lake, they surprised me with that home match against Seattle, winning it 2-0 over them, getting the clean sheet. San Diego opened up the season with a great road win against the LA Galaxy, but then drawing 0-0 with St. Louis in their first ever home match. Don't sleep on that St. Louis defense. No, that's not this game, but I just have to put that out there. San Diego looked good. Unfortunately, Chucky Lozano is out with a hamstring injury and most likely out until late March. There was a huge change in that match after he left in the 27th minute for San Diego against St. Louis. Real Salt Lake looked good at home. They didn't look great on the road, and they got upset in Champions Cup. So I'm not 100% feeling that Real Salt Lake are a great team or a good team at that. But I don't know if they win this one. I think San Diego are going to find their way without Lozano right now. I think they go on the road here. They don't get a point, but I think this match ends in a 1-1 draw there in Salt Lake City. So our second to last match there on Saturday, we have Vancouver Whitecaps versus CF Montreal. The Whitecaps are looking really good right now. 1 win at home, 1 win on the road. They're handling business. CF Montreal, unfortunately, 2 losses in their first 2 matches. I thought they looked good against Atlanta United, but that just shows that Atlanta's defense was not all that great. They lost to Minnesota 1-0 there in match day 2 for Montreal. The expected goals is 2-1 in favor of Vancouver there at home. And I actually am going with that, the expected goals. I think that Vancouver get the job done and win this match 2-1 over Montreal. Now, the last match on Saturday, I think, is going to be one of the better ones this weekend, and that is San Jose Earthquakes versus Minnesota United. Yes, Earthquakes are 2-0 this season. Minnesota 1 win and a loss in these first 2 match days. San Jose winning at home against Real Salt Lake 4-0, and then winning on the road against Sporting Kansas City 2-1. I don't want to get too high on San Jose because those first 2 matches aren't that great of sides, in my opinion, where Minnesota are a little bit better than those 2, in my opinion. But they have lost. They lost their opener against LAFC on the road, but then won 1-0 over Montreal in match day 2. I don't think that there's too much to separate these 2 sides, and I have a feeling I went with my gut on this one, and I think Minnesota United go on the road and get a point here. Yes, I am all in for San Jose this season and want them to make the playoffs, but they're going to have ups and downs, and I think this is going to be one of them. I think that Minnesota go in there and get a 2-2 draw at PayPal Park. For our first match there on Sunday, we have Inter Miami versus Charlotte FC. Again, Inter Miami coming off of a draw at home, and then they did win in match day 2 on the road against a terrible-looking Houston Dynamo side. Charlotte starting off the season 1-1, coming off of a home victory over Atlanta United 2-0, drawing in match day 1 with Seattle Sounders. This is going to be a fantastic match, probably the best one of the weekend. Wish I could watch this one on the live stream with you all, but have things going on, so be it. Segovia is leading the way with 2 goals for Inter Miami, but Suarez with goal contributions between goals and assists with 4. Inter Miami, I still believe, even though Charlotte is a good side and Zaha looked pretty good in his opening day, in his debut, Charlotte's looking very good. I'm going to stick with it. I don't think Inter Miami lose at home this season in MLS. And I think that this match ends in a 3-2 victory for Inter Miami. Charlotte's good, but just not better than Miami. And there was a rested Messi over the weekend, and I don't know if he's going to rest for the midweek match. I'm not 100% sure, but he'll be rested to play this Charlotte side, and Inter Miami win this 3-2 over Charlotte. Now, for our last match of match day 3, we have LA Galaxy versus St. Louis City. LA not looking good 2 losses in their first 2 matches in MLS. They do have a midweek match against Herediano there in the Champions Cup, which that game has not been played yet at the making of this video. St. Louis City, 2 draws in their first 2 matches and are scoreless. They have not scored a goal in their first 2 matches, which is kind of disappointing because their defense looks really good. Galaxy are definitely missing Puig and Painsil. Hopefully those guys will come back soon because it's going to be a long season for the Galaxy if that does not happen. Went back and forth on this match. They are playing there at Dignity Health Sports Park. I think that St. Louis has a really good defense, so I'm going to say St. Louis go on the road and get another point. St. Louis are the point kings. They get so many draws, I feel like, and I think they get another one here for this road match. I think this one ends in a 1-1 draw between LA Galaxy and St. Louis City. So that is it for my predictions. Please tell me down below what your predictions are. Make sure that you join the Nerdy Soccer Table. Again, QR code's there on the screen. Get on there. See if you can win that free jersey at the end of the season. Please give the video a like. Subscribe if you like the content. And we will see you for the watch along.